How's everyone feeling? Good? Woo! There's more of us in here than are protesting outside, and that's because our generation is pro-life. But if anybody from outside ever wants to join our side, they are so welcome. I want to share with all of you just a few thoughts from my experience, because I got involved in this movement and started Live Action when I was 15. And anyone here 15? Some of us 16, 17, we're all high school or college. And our generation, this whole cause, this whole era, really, of the last century, the last half century, is on our shoulders. Of course, we know we're the survivors. About a third to a fourth of our generation was killed by abortion. We're missing brothers, sisters, nieces, nephews, friends, cousins. Some of us, all of us, in some way or another, we're missing someone, whether it's in our family tree or in our schools or in our churches. So this is something that does affect us personally, and we kind of instinctually know that, which is one of the reasons we're so passionate. And we also recognize that human rights have to start in the womb, which is why we're so passionate. When I first started Live Action, it was in the Bay Area. Any Californians, by the way? I know, woo, awesome. I know Oregon is awesome, but California is the best state on the West Coast. Okay, no, just kidding. No. Oregon's awesome. I will admit, you guys have the most beautiful trees, and California has awesome trees. So anyways, I started Live Action in the Bay Area. Anybody from the NorCal, Bay Area? San Jose, okay? And started it because at the time, there was no pro-life organization in my city. So I found out about abortion, I started to study, I started to research, I started to get the facts. And once you start to research and get the facts, I think it just blows you away. I know each of us have had that experience. First of all, we find out what abortion actually does to a child. Then we find out how it's crippling to women. Then we find out how it wounds fathers. Then we find out how it's dividing our society. And then we see the lies that are being told. I mean, even the protesters outside, it just broke my heart walking through them, because it said things like, you know, abortion is going to free women, and abortion is somehow a woman's, you know, part of her body and her right. And it's like, yeah, I totally am for women's rights. I'm totally for women's control over their body and the sense that they have to make decisions for their body, but that child is another body inside your body, and that child deserves protection too. And that angry voice that says somehow abortion is going to solve my problem, but we know better. We know better because even some of our peers have told stories about how abortion wounded them, how they felt pressured and coerced, how they walked into that abortion clinic not because they felt powerful. You don't walk into an abortion clinic like the marchers outside yelling into a bullhorn, "I can't wait to have my abortion." Women walk into an abortion clinic feeling fear, pressure, shame, desperation. They don't feel powerful, they feel powerless. We know we've had friends, we know peers, our own stories in our own lives sometimes that very close to us. We know the wound and the weight that it carries, because we know that no good ever comes from taking an innocent life. And nobody is ever going to get further ahead in their pursuing their dreams or being who they're meant to be or having the relationship they're meant to have by killing a person, killing another person that seems to be in their way. When I started Live Action, I had no idea that it would become national or international. I had no idea I'd be doing undercover investigations in a few years. I had no idea I'd be doing debating on CNN and talking to congressmen. I had no idea about any of that, because when I started Live Action, it was just a simple thing of, I want to educate at least one person. I want to reach the person next to me, get together with some friends. And to be honest, there were some weeks when I was starting Live Action in San Jose when I would plan this elaborate meeting. I don't know if any club leaders here from pro-life chapters or groups, the brave and the few, you go. And I would be starting this, this little club, and anybody have been to a pro-life meeting, like a pro-life club meeting? Okay, that's good. And I would plan this pro-life meeting, and I'd call and text my friends and be like, "Hey, you coming?" They'd be like, "Yeah." And then one time, nobody showed up. I don't know if anyone has had that experience, but anyways, my mom sat me down and I was like, "Mom, no one came. I spent all this time researching and planning this lesson plan, and we're gonna go into this community and do education in the schools." And she said, "Lila, leadership is lonely, but you have to forge the path and people will follow." And I just want to encourage all of you, because you're standing up in Portland, Oregon, you're standing up in the area, this part of the country particularly they think that abortion is progressive. They think that abortion is somehow aligned with women's rights. But we know better. We know that tomorrow we're celebrating Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And in every century, in every era, there's a blindness There was a blindness in the last century to the rights of all people, no matter their race, no matter their color. And the blindness in our century is carried over from the last few decades, which is a blindness to life in the womb, which we grew up seeing through an ultrasound. That's the 20th century. Those are the eras of the 20th century. Now in the 21st century, we know the truth about the window to the womb. We know the truth about the child. So you're standing up and you're being brave in your communities, and I want to encourage you that when I was a teen starting that, I had no idea where it would take me, but I put one foot in front of the other. I educated myself. I said, look, I want my life to count for something. I think we all want our life to mean for something. We don't want to just, have some job for any old reason and just have a life. Life has a purpose. And we know that each of us, I think when we sit for a moment and think, we know deep in our heart there's something burning, that there's a purpose for our lives. We know that because we instinctually know, just like we see the dignity of the child in the womb, we know the dignity of ourselves. And the very fact that we see the dignity of the child in the womb is because we know that we have dignity. So I want to encourage you, you each have a particular role to play in this movement. I can't tell you exactly what it is. There's all kinds of branches of the movement. But I want to encourage you to find out what that is and keep trying and exploring. Whether maybe you're called to be a premier doctor, and that's going to be part of the way you live out your pro-life ethic. You're called to pray outside of the abortion facility at least once a month. You're called to pray every day for an end to abortion. You're called to help women in need in crisis pregnancies. You're called to educate. Everybody has a different role to play, but never let your voice be silenced. And never feel that your life and your role to play doesn't count for something, doesn't matter. The other thing I want to share with you is when we recognize the dignity of the child in the womb, it's because, like I said, we start with recognizing our own dignity. And that has a few action items for all of us here. What does that mean? Yeah, I know I have dignity. I know I'm cool, right? I'm an awesome person, I have dignity. But what does that actually mean? That has big implications for how we live our lives. What separates us? What makes us be a sign of hope to this hurting world? It's not just being pro-life activists or coming to a march. It's how we respect ourselves, respect and love the other people around us. And some tangible action items for you. This world says that sex is meaningless. A lot of people out there says sex is just something you do, it's recreational. They're forgetting that sex is life-giving and it's meant to be life bonding for life with one person. That is a real truth that's written into our bodies, that's written into human relationships. Deep down in our hearts, we know that we want one partner for life. Deep down in our hearts, we know that the culture offering promiscuity, offering sex with whomever, whenever, that's not a path that ultimately is going to bring fulfillment. And we know also that path, which is prevalent in our society, has led to the abortion crisis. We know that a lot of the abortion crisis is because people don't value themselves, don't respect themselves. Us girls, speaking to the ladies, we feel like we need to be sexually useful, attractive, and that's going to be the path to maybe win over the guy or have the love and the affection that we crave. We know, though, deep in our hearts that we're meant for a man who's going to cherish us lifelong, commit to us lifelong, and if we get pregnant with him, he's going to be there for us lifelong as the father of that child. Hold out for that, ladies. That's what you deserve. That's what we deserve. That man is out there for you, and he's going to love and respect you. Hold out for him. If you've made mistakes, those are your past. Walk into the future. That man is out there for you. And men, you know what you're meant for. You know what you're made for. You're made to protect women, to protect children. You know that you're also made for, if you're called to marriage, one woman and the children you might be given with her, and that you're meant to stand for her the rest of your life. Hold out for that woman. Respect every girl you date and treat her as if she's someone's future wife, because she probably is. If we can treat each other with that chastity, which is not rejecting sexuality, because sexuality is amazing and beautiful, but it's embracing it for the wholeness and the fullness that it is. That sexuality is meant to be with one person lifelong. If we can embrace that, if we can be brave and stand up against the voices that say that somehow abortion is a right, somehow killing a person, trampling on a person to achieve our professional success or to achieve our education is somehow the way to go. If we can stand up and be brave and loving and say, that's not the way, that's not the truth, that's not true, that's not loving. Our voice and our witness and how we're living and how we're loving will be a sign of hope to the world. And we can transform Portland, we can transform Oregon, we can transform this entire country. Our generation is going to do that. We can do that. Our love will be strong and a sign of hope. And we love you. We love you guys. We love you. We love you. And we welcome you in. We welcome you in. Join us anytime. And all of us together leading this fight, because the generation that we are, a pro-life generation, we're not the leaders of tomorrow, we are the leaders of today. And we're in it, we're in this battle. We're fighting this battle every day, and we're gonna win this battle. Because I'm a person of faith, I believe there's a God who loves us and made in his image and likeness. And I believe that God wants good for this country, and he wants healing and restoration for this country. And he wants to use every one of us because he loves us. He's a Father in heaven who made us in his image and likeness, and he loves us. And this country, through our witness and through our love, can be restored. We will end abortion in our lifetimes. So, if our friends are still out there by the end of our rally in here, I want you to go up to each of them and just say, I love you. I'd love to talk to you if you ever want to have a conversation. Maybe invite them for a coffee at some point. Maybe, get their email address. Say, I'd love to have a conversation with you. And say, I'd love for you ultimately to know what I know so you can join the side, which is the side for everyone's life, for everyone's rights, for everyone's dignity. And that's the way, one person at a time, we're going to change this country. Thank you so much, guys. God bless you all. Thank you.